Are the reports correct? Is Russia using SpaceX Starlink? Let's find out. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside. So good, so good. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is going to be a technology day. We're going to be talking about Russia. We're going to be talking about SpaceX. And there was an article that I was reading. There is media outlets that are now saying that Russia is using SpaceX Starlink in the war with Ukraine, and they're just using it in general in their country as well as in the country of Ukraine and, matter of fact, in Crimea, where it is, let's say, occupied. Well, is that really the case? And we're going to dive into that a little bit, and I'm going to read this article for you, the short portion of it. Then I'll give you my commentary on it, and we're going to dig a little bit deeper to really figure out if this is possible or it's not. That's what this channel is all about, digging in a little bit deeper, not just superficial, right? So it's going to be a little bit longer, this video. I will go through it as quick as I can, but once again, this is commentary, right? I'm not a news reporter. So before we get into it, I just want to say if you enjoy the content, even in the least, throw it a thumbs up. That would be very helpful. If you're not subscribed as of yet, consider doing so. And if you are, thank you so much. Click this little button over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks, check them out. They're free. Go to JCristina.com/books. And if you want to say thank you for all of my hard work, little thank you button right down there. You can give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, that's perfectly fine. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. And when you're done watching this video, check out my videos on Starlink in general. There's about 240, I think over 240 now. I'll put a little link over here. So definitely look at those after. So anyways, let's jump right into this article. It actually comes to us from PC Magazine. They state this. It says Russian media outlet Com News says vendors have been selling Starlink equipment because it allegedly works near Russia's border and in occupied areas in Ukraine. SpaceX is pushing back on this report that claims that merchants in Russia have been selling Starlink dishes to Russian troops for the use in the Ukraine war. Quote, if Russian stores are claiming to sell Starlink for service in that country, they are scamming their customers. This is what the company tweeted yesterday. Indeed, Russia is among the markets where Starlink is not available. However, according to a report from Russian media outlet Com News, vendors have been selling the equipment because it allegedly works near the country's border and in Ukraine, including the Russian-occupied Crimea. Interesting. Very interesting. That's contrary to the official Starlink map, which shows that internet access is restricted in Russian-occupied areas. Still, as evidence, Com News cites an online pages of several vendors, including one that notes that the Starlink dish can be used in CBO. That's CBO in quotes. Basically, that refers to Russian military operations in the Ukraine. And they show this image. So if you look at it, that is not a cheap price. Although the Russian military have banned the use of Starlink equipment, some volunteer military troops have been buying it up. One vendor is selling the Starlink device for $3,500 US. Com News goes on to claim that Russian merchants are secretly importing Starlink dishes through Dubai. On Thursday, Newsweek reported on the alleged Starlink sales while citing social media posts from journalists and soldiers on the ground backing up the claim. These reports prompted SpaceX to respond with a forceful dismissal. Quote, SpaceX does not do business of any kind with the Russian government or its military, the company said on Thursday's tweet. SpaceX has never sold or marketed Starlink in Russia, nor has it shipped equipment to locations in Russia. The company adds that it's never authorized any third-party group to sell Starlink units in Dubai. Hence, if the shipments are real, they're occurring behind SpaceX's back. The company also signaled it would crack down on any Russian use of its satellite internet system when detected. Quote, if SpaceX obtains knowledge that a Starlink terminal is being used by a sanctioned or unauthorized party, we investigate the claim and take action to deactivate the terminal if confirmed. Starlink has become vital in the Ukraine, including the country's military operations against the Kremlin. So, any reports of Russian troops using the Starlink satellite internet system could stir controversy for SpaceX. Last year, the company's CEO, that's when he was the CEO, Elon Musk, sparked attention by curbing the Ukraine military's use of SpaceX Starlink to launch drone strikes. Quote, we will not enable escalation of conflict that may lead to World War III. That's what Musk said. Basically, they were, or he was, or SpaceX was asked to turn on the Starlink system in a specific region where it never had it before. And he said, no, we're not going to do that because you stated that you're going to use it for drones to go and bomb stuff, right? That's not what this system is designed to do. So no, we're not going to turn it on for you. Many mainstream media outlets said that he turned it off when he found out that they were going to do this. No, he found out they were going to do this. He was requested to turn it on. He said, no, we're not going to turn it on. It's never been on before. We're not going to turn it on now so you can go use it for military strikes. That's not what this is designed for. So the question here is this authentic or is it not? And I'm going to say it's not. Now, are the systems being sold? Probably yes, but are they being used? Probably not. Now, how do I know this? Well, I dug in a little bit and I just simply used the app to do so. Now, what do you mean by that? Now, I'm going to go into the Starlink app and I hope that you do the same thing because if you are a Starlink user like me, you're going to have this on your phone. Now, I'm not going to show you what I'm doing, or I might just put little clips up or something. And the reason being is the information that I'm going to show on this is going to be highly sensitive, specific to me, like down to like 15, 18, 20 character long security information. Anyways, open up your app. Then at the very bottom, you're going to see something that says advanced. Click on advanced. Now here, once again, there is a ton of information. My name, the ID, this big long number, as well as the subscription number, which is even longer. The app, when was it updated? What version am I using? How long is the uptime? How long has it been since the last time it was rebooted? I mean, everything is in here. Well, just below that, you have two options. You have one that says set up another Starlink. We're not doing that. And the one below that is debug data. All right, click on debug data. Now, this is so much better because the debug data that I showed you guys, let's say 26 months ago, was just very, very hard to understand. I had to tell you and explain what everything was. Now there's like little meters and stuff, not graphs yet, but like meters that show like what the obstruction percentage is, what is your ping drops, and what is the milliseconds of what your current ping is and whatnot. This was never the case. This is awesome. All right, this is really good. So from here, you can get information like no current outage, not stowed. That means it's not being stowed away or in the stowed position. GPS is valid. Very important. Remember that one. Normal signal. What does that mean? Well, the signal is nominal. That means that it is at that floor of, I think it's about a 3 dB noise floor. Your SNR, basically, your signal to noise ratio. Anyways, it is normal. Also, obstruction data is valid. That means that it has information in the last 12 hours that shows that it does not have any obstructions. Anyways, it goes into a ton more information. Ping latency, ping drop. Also, what is your cable ping latency and ping drop? That is mission critical information. How many people have asked me, am I having a cable problem? Now, if you want to know, you can go right into the app and scroll down into this data and you're going to see, like for me, it has 0% of cable ping drop and 1 millisecond of latency from my router to my dish. So if technical support was to read this and say, we're getting 15% drop of packets and we're seeing a millisecond instead of 1 millisecond, 20 milliseconds, there's a problem with the damn cable. This is amazing information. This was never the case. I would have to decipher this information and figure it out based on all sorts of just cryptic information. Now it's like plain as day. Below that, it gives you more information about the router, the status of the temperature, when was the last update, all this kind of stuff. But then down here, we get into more critical information. Number one is geolocation. I'll get into that in just a second. That is very, very important. Keep going down below that, and you're going to see sensors. Now, some people don't realize this, but in the dish, it has 4 sensors. Check this out. It's got a magnometer, it's got an accelerometer, it has motion as well as GPS. A magnometer is like, it measures the magnetic pull, let's say. Let's call it a compass, right? So it knows where is it pointing. It has the accelerometer to know at what speed in which it's moving. So it knows if the dish is moving, not just by the motion detector, let's say it's at the top of a tree, but with the accelerometer, it knows that if it's moving at 35 miles per hour. And also the gyro. So in 3-dimensionality, it knows where it is positioned or how it's positioned. Okay. So this is a ton of information. Now below that, this is where things get juicy. It says Starlink location. And there is a toggle on here. Let me see if there's any pertinent data here that I can show. Anyways, there we go. So maybe I'll take a picture of the screen and I'll show it over here. But it says use Starlink positioning exclusively. What does that mean? If you click on the information, it says this: use Starlink position and timing information exclusively instead of GPS. This should only be used in a rare case that GPS is unreliable or unavailable in your area. Being jammed. This setting may impact service quality as Starlink is less accurate than GPS and will not work while in motion. This setting will be reset each and every time that you reset your Starlink router. So, very, very important here. That means that if I swipe this over, it will no longer use GPS and only use the positioning information that it gets from Starlink satellites solely. Now, I found it and I said, you know what? Like I said, if there was some type of jamming going on, or maybe you're in a location where you can't get GPS, whatever that is, you can flip over to this mode, this setting where it only uses the Starlink positioning exclusively, right? So this is all good and all, right? But it's still, remember, it knows where you are. But I remember reading an article where they were talking about how Starlink was going to be more accurate than GPS. Now, is that the case with 5,500 satellites right now? I don't know. Maybe it's when there's 10,000, 20,000, or 43,000, right? I don't know. But either which way, I have a feeling that the information that it gleams from these satellites is pretty damn accurate. Now, the GPS that's built into it, how accurate is that? Well, let's find out. If you go to geolocation, now I'm not going to share my exact location, but my latitude is 26 dot, right? 26 dot, and then 4 digits. 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000th position, right? So 26 dot and then 4 digits. Longitude is -80 dot 4 digits, meaning that I'm here in South Florida. So to dig a little deeper, I put this information into Google Maps. I want to know where it thinks that the dish is located, right? Well, guess what, guys? The longitude is exact, right down to the 10,000th position is exact. And the latitude was only off by 1/10,000th of a position. 1/10,000th of a position. So then you'd say, well, Joe, so how far off is that? Are we talking a mile off? You know, how far off? 1/10,000th of a position is basically 10, 15 feet, 12 feet, maybe. That's how far it was off on latitude, not longitude, on latitude. You see how accurate this is? So it knows exactly where it is. Exactly. So if the unit was in a region where it does not supposed to get service, it is not getting service because they know damn Skippy exactly where the terminal is, down to the foot, literally with mine within 12 feet. They could literally drop a bomb right here on this building and actually hit the right side of the building too. So when they say that Starlink was being used by the Russians in Crimea, the answer to that is it's not possible. Because if Crimea is turned off and it knows where it's located within, let's say, 12 feet, they're not getting any service. Period. End of frickin' story. So when I read this, I have to call bullshit. Because understanding the underpinnings on how this shit works, it's just simply not possible. If they want this system not to work in a specific location, it will not work. Like they said, if SpaceX obtains knowledge that a Starlink terminal is being used by a sanctioned or unauthorized party, we investigate the claim and take actions to deactivate the terminal if confirmed. Anyways, we haven't cured cancer or solved world hunger here, but hopefully you have found this video at least interesting. And maybe by learning a little bit about that debugging information, you can solve some of your problems, or at least know if you're having cable issues or anything else. Get in there and check it out because it is helpful. Also, we do know that this is bullshit now, because there's no way for them to use a terminal in a location that Starlink or SpaceX doesn't want the terminal to be used. End of friggin' story. It's just not possible, in my personal opinion. Is there ways around it? Well, even if they switch that little switch from using GPS to using satellite, they still will know basically where it's being used. And it will not be able to be used in motion if you now turn it to satellite. So not only are you not getting GPS where you're getting that exact accurate pinpoint location, but now it's going to be even less accurate, so the military is not going to want it anyways. Anyways, like I said before, if you found this information useful or just entertaining, throw the video a thumbs up. That'd be awesome. And down below in the comments, let's have a discussion. Let's talk about this a little bit. I find it fascinating. I hope you do too. Let me get out of here by saying, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the many years. Hopefully there's something there that you might like. Check out my tees, check out my merch, pick something up. That would be very helpful. Have a good day. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.